Hey, y'all. Welcome to this short but sweet RageAffects Radio podcast episode. Tonight, me and Rin are getting into the game Exome. It's a up to 4-player co-op game that is all about the Horde AI aspect. The game's description is as follow. Exome is a co-op survival shooter with a focus on exploration, weapon progression, and Horde AI. Discover what grim mysteries are hidden in this deep forest. Explore and fight for survival, alone, or with your friends. Now, alone is out of the question. I'm sorry, but this game is way too hard for someone to play by themselves. But as you will hear in this episode, we found out some interesting news as we were recording the episode. So feel free to check that out all the way through. And hopefully you enjoy this episode. Be sure to check out the links in the show notes. We got links for me, we got links for Rin, and we got links for Podcast Bay, who sponsors this episode or this podcast in general. So if you want a new podcast, or you are a podcaster and you're looking to outsource your editing, feel free to look up Podcast Bay Productions in the show notes and get a hold of the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Scott Doucette, or, you know, whoever it is that you end up talking to. But hey, feel free to check them out. And yeah, enjoy the episode. So I guess we can talk about the graphics in general, because I know when
for a small indie game that using Unreal Engine 5, it's very
I didn't know they were using Unreal Engine 5 until like I was looking up the specs and stuff. But yeah, that's the one thing though that threw me off, and I remember us talking about it during the only stream that we ended up streaming it, was the character model when you run doesn't it's got like this weird blur effect to it. And I don't know how I like that or not. Like, I don't feel like it's not super immersive. I get that it's a third person shooter, so it's not huge, but like just the way the model runs, it looks like
natural.
Yeah, it almost looks like he's moving in like super speed. Like he's like moving super quick. So like he's moving so fast that his physical body form is like, I don't know, some weird thing like the Flash, you know, like it just looks super weird. But like,
it looked like he had a trail, basically a mirage trail behind him.
Almost, yeah. It was like a delay. Like it's like one, like the astral body compared to the physical body was like a delay, and it was like super weird. But the gameplay shooting wise was really good. I like the way they implemented the guns for this game. The only thing that I would say that I think we had a struggle with, because again, we didn't, like we were saying earlier before we started recording, we didn't actually complete. We could not. There was no way. We tried it for hours. We tried it multiple days. We could not beat we couldn't even beat the final ring to get to the big ring. Like we couldn't even make it to that. Like it was that hard for us. And I think one of the things that they should have implemented in the game, in my opinion, was like upgrades to weapons to make it a little bit more useful, because like the currency that we were getting, we had an abundance of currency with no use for any of it. Like we had literally no use for any of the currency other than reloading ammo. But I think we got ammo for free. I don't think ammo costs you anything.
All the supplies and everything were free. But I feel like if they would have implemented a perk system or some type of way to boost your character in some way, like
like if you grind enough of the random enemies and stuff that are around, because basically what happens is it's hordes. So you go to this certain area, stand on the plates, the horde happens, but all those enemies you kill, you cannot gain any currency from them until you beat it, and then it hands you a bunch of currency. But if you're running around through the map and you're shooting like wildlife, or at night, I don't even know what they'd be called. They're like kind of like aliens almost. They look like almost like an alien from Alien vs. Predators and stuff.
Yeah, sort of like the Xenos, but like in nano goop form.
Yeah, but like if you kill those in the wild, they give you currency, and the bigger they are, the more currency you get. So it's like eventually you end up with such an abundance of currency and nothing to spend it on, because healing at the station was free, reloading of the ammo was free. The only thing that wasn't free was buying a gun, but there was only the pistol, which is free. You can get the pistol. You start with it. Then there was a shotgun, an AR, and a sniper. But you couldn't have all 4 weapons, but you had 4 weapon slots. So you could have 2 pistols and then a shotgun and a AR, or a shotgun and a sniper, or like any variation of the 3 others. But slot 1 and slot 4 had to be your pistol. You could not put like a shotgun in slot 4. It had to be another pistol, which I found really annoying, because we had to like pick and choose what guns we were using.
I kind of feel like they should add maybe like an LMG or like a very high capacity,
and make it super expensive. Fuck it, like make it like stupid expensive for us to buy. That it
the fact that you have to restart, if you're gonna restart multiple times on a single platform, I say, because you end up farming money anyways, regardless when you're roaming around the map.
Yeah.
So it means give us something like a big badass gun, you know.
That, and like I said, like upgrades. Allow us to have upgrades on the weapons. I think that would be a
weapon upgrades, maybe some perks or something.
huge thing. Grenades.
Oh, grenades, that would be great. I mean, I would actually recommend that if that was in the 4th slot, to be honest.
Just
or
grenades.
Like or something.
When the horde is running up the hill and you're just like, grenade down the hill. You wait for it. Like, even if it didn't kill them, but it did enough damage that if you were shooting them too and you dropped a grenade at their feet and they blew up, like, that'd be great. Like a low power grenade. It doesn't have to be like kills everything. Like just the factor that it would give us something else to use. And what I would do to make it interesting is that it can damage your teammates. So you have to be careful on where you use it, because it's an explosive. Like that would make sense. That would make sense to me, though. If you're going to add something like that, that would be overpowered and really help. It has to be something that you have to be aware of what you're doing when you're doing it, so you don't kill your teammates.
I mean, if anything, like the 4th slot, I mean, we barely even use it. But if it if it was more like a utility slot, or a defensive item or defensive item, that would have been great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember, especially the big boys that come and attack you.
God.
They take nearly a quarter of your health, and I kind of wish maybe like a stim shot or a med bag or something that could bring my health up.
Like a heal station, almost like having like a mobile heal station that's in a certain area, almost.
And then, I mean, if anything, we're looking at futuristic setup, so maybe like a drone or something.
Yeah. Like I think the fact that the game is so new allows them the opportunity to work on this stuff. I think if they really put the time into working the different sort of things that you can do in the game, and then other stuff like that, I think you'd be much better off with the capability of having grenades and having other stuff that aids us in beating the game, instead of us struggling with things like not being able to run fast enough away from the fucking horde and having to die 20,000 times in order for us to decide that it was not a good game for us to play and we should probably quit before we really get mad and piss each other off. But
that's what we end up doing in the end. We spent multiple days just on that one spot.
Yeah, when we did the first playthrough, we did it through Discord, and it was like I think we spent 3 or 4 hours, and we got to that spot. We played it a few times, and then after we were done playing it a few times, we decided that we would quit, pick it up another day, and then we did that during a stream, which we found out that your system cannot stream it. It just could not handle the capability of, because it's Unreal.
I don't think I had the processing power to the back.
No, I think it's I think it was your CPU, but we ended up playing it for another 2 hours on the same exact spot over and over and over again, and then it came to the conclusion that it just wasn't a game that we could beat 2 people, we would need a third or a fourth person with like fully kitted out gear and stuff like us. Well, I say fully kitted out gear, but basically just, having other weapons that we didn't have. So like you were running a sniper and an AR, I was running a shotgun and an AR, and the other guy could have been running an AR and a sniper. That way there we would have had way more firepower and way more stuff to shoot at things, which would have made things a little bit easier, I think, in my opinion. But
yeah, I think one more manpower or maybe, or both, two more manpower for any form would be grateful.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that held this game back, in my opinion, was the having to rely on a third person instead of it just being two people. But overall, in the aspect of playing a game that is only $15 USD, would have been around $20 for me in Canada, being that it's on Unreal Engine 5 and that it's only been out for a couple months. It came out in like December. I think if we ever gave the game time to develop and then fix some certain thing, I think the game would be really good. I loved the nighttime aspect. So the stuff where, because you could have night vision and then you could also have thermal. I believe the thermal was really good in my opinion. It really felt, it felt almost realistic. It felt like when I was looking through it, if I saw anything that was, red, it was really like thermal. There was no glitches in it and stuff. The night vision, I liked it, but I found it hard to see. Me personally, I don't know how you felt on those though, but for me, I found it was a little bit too dark for the night vision, and then the thermal was like my go-to the entire game.
I mean, night vision was pretty fine for me. I mean, I still felt like it was still a tad bit too dark. Then again, it might be my own personal video settings. Thermal wise, it's great, but I believe the outlining kind of, like, especially when they're like stacked up on each other, like overlapping each other, it feels like you're looking at a giant blob rather than looking at individual ones. Because their heat signature all spanned all the way out to the edges of their body, and like it's hard to differentiate which one was like in the front, which one in the back.
Yeah,
you'd be shooting the big guy, and in hindsight, you actually be shooting the small guy that's literally right in front of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I don't know, something about this game. Just we really had fun with it. I'll say the exploration was really good. I didn't feel like we had to really force ourselves to explore, because you almost had to, no matter what, to beat the game. They made it like spread out enough that it makes a lot of sense that you would have to go to almost every corner of the map, and it added to the gameplay time as much as it like allowed us to get used to the gameplay without pushing more and more onto us really quickly. The style was very good too, because like they say in the description, it's a grim mystery, because basically what's going on, which we didn't really explain it. And I mean, it's all these recordings are usually spoiler alerts. I'm going to start saying that at the beginning of the intros and shit, because it just makes more sense, because we're talking about the game in general. But you do go around looking for basically notebooks from scientists, because it's like a scientist's area. Like there's a big experiment going on, and they're like exploring this area because there's some phenomena going on, and they don't know what's happening. And I believe we found every single page, and we didn't have to, but we like made it a mission. We're like, part of this game is to find these pages. We need to find them all.
Well, it's the fact that every location we went to was like, oh yeah, here's like 1 or 2 or 3 tablets with information.
Yeah, I came down to like needing like 1 or 2, and we're like, fuck it, we're finding it. I don't care. I was like, we might as well like find it, like find these, like, because it was basically landmarks. Like it was anywhere that was like a landmark or like a special area that would end up being marked on the map. Well, those areas ended up being where 1 or 2 notebooks or tablets were, actually, because like Rin said, they were tablets, they weren't notebooks. They're basically like they're tablets with notes on them. And there was like I think 6 different scientists, and like some scientists had 6 pages, some had 4, some had 5. So like you were digging and like they weren't in order when you found them, so you were trying to find them all. It was a very good, I think, them adding that instead of just being a Horde AI game, because that's basically what this game is. It's all about the hoarding, or not hoarding, but the hordes. So I think adding an element of adding to the mystery by finding notebooks or like tablets to associate what's going on, I think that was a really good little thing they could add. I do hope they come out with more maps, though. I think if they came out with like another map or 2, it would allow them to get more playability in their game, because I feel like if we were to beat it once, there's no point in replaying it. We didn't beat it, but if we would have beaten it, there would have been no reason for us to replay it.
And I feel like the story does have potential, given that, we're looking at research and development in a way.
Yeah.
I feel like this would really expand on it. But, if technically speaking, it could be a very drastic change between environments. So if they can implement a very linear or a smooth way of actually having a story brought out from this, makes it more good to play.
Yeah, I agree. Just because the fact that right now it's just there's not a real story to the game. They tried by implementing those pages, but it's not really a story. It's just go out in the wilderness, kill everything, find these little pads, stand on the pads, basically calling a horde to you. I don't know who would want to do that ever. Get the fuck out, leave it alone. But you basically go summon the horde, kill the horde off, get rewarded by coins, go back to base, heal up, buy more guns if you can, go to the next plate, rinse and repeat. And I think there's like a dozen plates or something like that. I think we did 11 out of 12.
So. Yeah, roughly so.
Yeah.
I do wish there was a bit of a narration to it. Like, like a little bit of dialogue here and there.
Yeah, I agree.
More interesting.
Yeah, I agree. For the price, the game was great. For the fact that the game almost required us to have 3 people, I'm not a huge fan of that, because there's a lot of people that are buying this game probably and going, I have another buddy that'll play this with me, like me and Rin did, and it got really hard real quick, and there was no way. I don't think there was any physical way for us to progress from that one. And I think what would have had to have happened is we would have, because I think as each plate goes, it got progressively harder. I don't think it mattered what plate we went to. The plate that we ended up at the end, I think that was a very bad one to end on our last one. It was way too out in the open. If we would have gotten one of the plates where it was enclosed, the ones that like there was like 2 levels almost, but it was like enclosed. It was like a square with one opening.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been probably perfect for like one of the last stages, because we could have jumped off the edge and like ran away and ran back in and then shot them again and then ran up the stairs and jumped off the edge, like rinse and repeat, right? So like I think you have to pick and choose which like plates you want to do first and which ones you want to do last. I'm not you can't quote me on that though, because I'm not sure if that's actually how it works. Because it did seem though how it, like, as time went on and as the plates went on, it did progressively get harder. It could have just been the coincidence of which plates we picked, but I do believe that if we would have picked like that plate as like a middle tier plate instead of the last fucking one, we would have had a much easier chance of beating that one. But then we would have probably struggled at the end anyways, because it just seems like it gets really hard and really.
It was a lack of firepower, really. In the end.
Oh yeah, it was. Like I was shooting like an entire clip of the AR into the big guy, and he was not even phased. Like I had to shoot 2 clips into him, and then you were also shooting them with a sniper, and like the sniper was like 2-shotting them unless you hit them directly in the head, which these big guys are running directly at you. They're not easy to hit in the head straight on. And then
I do feel that the hitbox seems a bit off in a sense, especially the small ones. Like they're more, I understand they're more agile, but I mean, you're taking a shotgun, you're shooting basically point
Oh, I
blank
missed
at
so
them.
many shotgun shots when I was aiming right at them. Like, I don't understand how the shotgun works, but like I was like 3-4 feet away and I would shoot and I wouldn't hear any hit markers, and I was like, the fuck? But I don't know. It could have been just me. But I feel like, yeah, the shotgun was lacking. Shotgun lacked big time, in my opinion.
Well, it felt more like the second they get close to you, to a point where you can melee them, but like still within that specific range is like weapons are useless, your melee is useless, like they're invincible kind of thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of things, I think, like this one and this episode, which is kind of cool. It's really short and sweet because this game, one, we didn't beat it. It's not a game that we really beat, and we can't really tell you what the ending was like, and if we really felt like it tied together, or if it had like a cutscene at the end or anything, or if it just finished. I don't know. I haven't even looked it up. I haven't even decided to look it up. But the game, like I said, there's a plenty. I mean, it's early access. It's only been out since December, I think. So it's one of those things of, the game is still in early access. They could do a lot to it. They could just leave it like that. It's up to them. They're the developers of the game, but I feel like it's not finished. It definitely needs some work, and I think I hope they plan on doing more work to it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, just a little bit polishing here and there, and it should be straightened out, I would say. Gameplay wise is good, graphics wise as well as great. Audio pretty spot on. I mean,
yeah, oh yeah, the audio is great. I'll say this: the audio, the like 3D spatial audio was amazing, because when you were on a plate, like when the hordes were coming, because they would come from different directions, you would be able to tell what direction they were coming from by the scream they were making. So the audio was spot on, in my opinion. I think the audio was probably part of the best, was some of the best stuff about the game that I enjoyed. The gun quality and the shooting quality was amazing. The audio was great. And then it starts getting to the point of like the enemies, the quality of the enemies was amazing. I loved the graphic work that they did on them. They did really good job, as well as the wildlife. I do feel like the wildlife was a little bit overpowered whenever you shot them and they didn't drop, and you're like, excuse you? But I mean, hey, they need to make it a little bit tricky. They don't want you just shooting them once with a pistol and killing them. So they probably do have a health system for that. But there's a lot of nice things about the game. The game was smooth. We didn't have any issues with, we didn't have any crashing. We didn't have any like disconnects. We had none of that. Like, that was perfect, in my opinion. Especially since there's a lot of games out there, Redfall, that is crashing constantly and are a lot more expensive games, honestly. And this one, for the price it was, not crashing and keeping us online together for an extended period of time and keeping our attention, really. It kept our attention until we just couldn't beat it. And I'm sure if we would have saw hope in beating it, we would have kept playing it until we eventually beat it. But we kept dying around the same time, like same spot. It was like we were getting overwhelmed. We didn't have enough ammo. We didn't have enough firepower. And we realized that. We noticed it. So we decided that we would call it quits. If we would have saw any glimpse of hope, if we would have gotten to a point where there was only one guy left and we knew that was the last fucking monster and we both died, we would have kept going. Oh yeah, I would have forced it. I would have kept going because I wanted to beat it.
And yeah, I mean, for the most part, the game, enjoyable gameplay. I loved it. For being as how much it cost and how big the file is, it seems reasonable. I mean, given that it's on Unreal Engine 5, which is even more detrimental, given the graphical power from Unreal Engine 4, it's very well done.
Yeah, like you just said, like the storage space. The game is only 5 gigs. The game is only 5 gigs of storage.
With that much detail, just, I mean, even if running on like low settings, it still looks good.
Yeah. And they recently did add a new an update, and I think that was after we played. I'm not 100% sure because it was like on May 6th they did a small patch update. So who knows? Maybe they fixed some things with the hoarding thing, and maybe in a couple months we'll have to revisit it and see if maybe, who knows? Maybe they fixed it and we can actually beat it. Maybe they fucked up on the gun powers and they realized that the guns were a little bit too weak. We don't know. We won't know until actually last time we played was May 1st, and they released an update on May 5th actually, being that they added a stamina bar, they added a reload speed upgrade. Oh geez.
Oh no.
Oh, ammo bag upgrade, grenade pouch upgrade, materialization kiosk, additional sitting animations. What is this?
Armor plating upgrade.
Added something that keeps its distance while watching. Added something that is looking for you. What? Added something that will hunt you down.
But yeah, from our experience though, as a 2-man squad,
they added fragmentation. Dude, I was like, yo, we need grenades. They added fragmentation grenades and armor plating.
Okay.
So now I think we could beat this game.
Okay, now we can really revisit.
Now we're definitely gonna revisit this game. This is really cool because I didn't see this until now. Yeah, this update introduces fragmentation grenades, which will help you turn the tide. Yeah, it will, of course. Yeah, we've also added 4 additional player upgrades that will help you deal with the onslaught. They definitely knew that this game was really hard because they added all this stuff. They added this. Unknown specimen will no longer spawn in the wild. Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting. Slightly reduced base reload speed of shotgun. Weapons will show a quick materialization when bought. Okay, so that's little like fixes and whatever they did. Players will now respawn at the materialization kiosk. Okay. Let's see what else is there while we're on this topic. So they restyled the health bars and stuff. They reduced the recoil on the pistol by 50%. The pistol had that bad of recoil that they had to readjust it?
No, it had a lot of kick. Like you had to
fix the recoil frame rate issue. Oh, there was a frame rate issue with the recoils. Okay. Maybe that's why my shotgun was being all weird and shit. Fix occurrence of players surviving intended kill damage. I think that was one of the things you ended up having.
Oh yeah, I get down and you're still up. I was able to keep shooting.
But what's funny is on my side, I didn't see you shooting. So it was like almost like a glitch. You were able to shoot things, but it didn't affect my end because it was like player based instead. They increased apparently they increased the time on the recharge for the drone beacon. So that, I mean, the amount of times that we actually used the drone beacon, we've only used it once or twice, and we never really needed it more than once because usually we end up dying. So I think we're gonna have to revisit this game now.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that
this game we're gonna have to probably bring another person just in case.
Oh, listen, you might be able to stream it now. They added a max FPS setting in the display settings to address the community's concern with high GPU usage. So there's a chance that you might be able to lower your max FPS now so that you can ensure that your game doesn't clog up your PC.
Well, then again, like, I don't think my CPU is capable of streaming, to be honest. I mean,
I don't think your CPU is capable of doing it, but I think if there's any chance that you can lower some graphic stuff and actually lower your max FPS instead of it being locked to your VSync, I think you might be able to stream it, but I mean, that
we'll have to experiment on that.
Yeah. But I'm very happy with that update. I'm very happy that I looked at the Steam store to check some stuff and I saw the update was there. Because we played it on May 1st, so we missed that update. If we would have waited a week, we would have loaded in and we would have been so happy. We would have been so happy. There would have been grenades. There would have been armor plates. Like, what? Armor plates are the most exciting thing, I think. That's going to allow us to survive that place so much easier. Especially if they allow you to reload the armor plates. Like, if you can have a stockpile of them. So, like, basically kind of like a Warzone thing where, like, you have 2 in, but then you also have 2 extras. So, like, you can run and, like, reload your armor plates. That would be really cool, but I don't expect that. I expect it to be like, you can buy armor plates, and then when you leave, you just have the armor on. So you have extra health, really.
Basically, yeah.
But I'm excited about that now. I'm excited about that. We'll have to we might have to make a quick little
detour from our usual scheduled programming.
Well, we might have to make like a little tiny podcast episode on what we think of the ending of it now, because once we finish it, right, we're gonna want to talk to people about that too, right? So
yeah, for sure.
We might end up doing, if you guys see like Exome Part 2 somewhere, it's probably going to be like a 15-20 minute episode, because now it's like there's no point in, like, I feel like we should just end this episode because
let's not spoil anymore. Well,
yeah, because it's also the fact that we might have a completely different opinion now, because we just found out that they released an update, and we didn't know that until I just saw it. So yeah, I guess we're gonna check this game out again, probably on stream at some point. I'll have to schedule it in, so God only knows when that'll be. But yeah, because there's not really much else we can talk about anyways, and now that we're gonna check the game out again, I'd hate to like rinse and repeat the whole conversation again in a couple months time, because that would just be dumb. So I appreciate you guys for listening to us ramble on and then find out that there was an update on this game. Feel free to check out the show notes for everything that is me and now Rin, because Rin does some model kit streaming, which has been going very well for him, and I'm very happy that he started up because he loves doing his model kits, and he's been spending way too much money on model kits lately, so we need to get him to affiliate so people can start paying him to make model kits.
If anything.
But I appreciate you guys for listening. Like I said, like we're gonna do another episode on this game because of the fact that, like I said, we just found out that there's an update, and I don't want to go too much farther into details because our information is based on our knowledge of the game, and now that this has changed, everything could have changed. The entire, like the character animation might have gotten a fix. Everything could have gotten a fix. So instead of us rambling on for nonsense and then it being false, I'd rather us put a halt on it. We are going to release this on time anyways, and then we'll pick it back up when we beat the game. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind doing a reevaluation. So
yeah, that's basically what it would be. It would end up being a reevaluation of the game. See if there's any differences between what we said here and what we're going to say on the next one, and you never know, it could be a completely different ball game for us. So we'll have to wait and see.